This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
Minneapolis, it's time to put on your baggy sweatshirt and get ready to laugh. Comedy icon Adam Sandler is bringing his You're My Best Friend tour to XL Energy Center October 22nd. Don't miss out on brand new jokes, classic bits, maybe even a song or two. Tickets on sale now. Full details, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
All right, we are indeed back from the Great Minnesota Get-Together, and before we say hi once again to Two Dogs, some feedback being handed out by some folks from a new place, Shanghai Henry's, and he described it as deep-fried pimiento cheese, and it is excellent, I think. You know why it's good for me? It's not that exotic. There's not like 12 things going on in there, because I'm ridiculously picky.
Yep.
But the other thing that's good about it is it's not messy. You know, it's self-contained.
That's right.
You don't have that problem. You don't need a fork. And they're kind enough.
And they're gone already.
They're already gone.
Yeah.
They've been given away to the audience. So
International Bazaar if people want to go up
That's
there.
the place, yeah. Thanks for thinking of us. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. All right, Two Dogs, what do we have next year?
Well, we have an angry iguana because you would think with these food samples that one would have made its way over here.
That's a good point. Oh,
But beggars can't be choosers, so we'll just take what we can get.
Whoa. Oh, that's a nice-looking creature right there.
So this is Dooner.
Halvey, your thoughts?
That one I don't think he's too worried about.
I just...
What's wrong?
I get the scaly stuff, man.
The scaly stuff.
Ugh.
He's saying no to the banana so far. Is he? That's correct. What's the deal?
Oh, is he about to eat the banana?
So it appears.
Well,
it's
like
a test.
like most reptiles and people, I can't make them do anything. They just do whatever they want. So this is Dooner. She is, what did we figure out? 36 years old.
36.
Average iguana should live about 15 to 20 years. So
Oh, wow.
I'm no mathematician, but I think we're above average.
That's big-time durability.
So she is...
So that's the Sid Hartman of iguanas, what you're saying.
With a few less wrinkles, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it.
But she's demonstrating what they like to do for most of the day, every day. So this is a rhinoceros iguana. They're native to Haiti and the Dominican. And I would just absolutely love to tell all you guys that I taught her to sit still like this. I am the Caesar Milan of the iguana world. I trained her to do that. I'll tell you, but I'll also tell you that's a bold-faced lie. She's doing what she naturally does most of the day, every day. Just simply lay there and soak up the sun. Now, in the wild, she'd be doing the same.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Don't we all aspire to that?
It's a good way to come back.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the previous life for her was.
It's almost like statuesque. Like there's almost no... Oh, well, no. She heard that.
What are you saying?
She heard that. Okay, I get it. I get it. You're alive.
Well, don't worry. If she takes off, she's just going to be gone. Because with reptiles, they're saving that.
I don't like the way she's looking at me. I'm going to be honest. I mean,
I wouldn't either if I were you.
Look at that.
There's a lot of people that say the same thing to me, though. Like, I don't like the way you're looking at me.
I didn't mock her. I didn't
over
ridicule you. I didn't mock you in any way.
Now she's moving left to me.
Yeah, now she's, yeah.
A couple of blinks like it's on.
I think we're spotting
How well
that
do they
banana.
see?
Very, very well.
Okay.
So, but if you look at her head, her eyes are on the side of her head, and they have excellent vision. The problem is their number one predator are hawks and eagles. And I always like to ask the kids at school talks, and like, okay, she sees off to the side.
Right.
Well, where do hawks and eagles come from? Up above. To me, this seems like a bit of a design flaw where it's like, hey, I'm going to give you great vision. Like, all right, that's wonderful. Could I be able to see in the direction of the stuff coming to eat me? I feel like that would be beneficial to survival.
Hard to argue with that.
So right in the middle of her head is what they call a third eye for iguanas. Now, it's not a true eyeball. It doesn't blink. It doesn't see. It's basically a motion detector.
Ah.
So at home for us in Wisconsin, we're right in line with the flight path coming to MSP. So our iguanas will be outside on a nice day like this. They'll be sunning themselves because they love to be hot. She wants to be 100 degrees plus.
She loves that. She loves the heat.
Haiti and Dominican. So a little warmer.
She's going to be bitter if it drops to the 70s.
We got a heat lamp for her.
Oh,
We
okay.
know how to keep
All right.
her happy.
Okay.
Basically, because she's told us. She is in charge.
Okay.
She's the type of female. She is a strong, independent female. Yep. There's some word to shorten all that up, but I forget what it is.
Don't go Monty on us. Don't go creasy.
You got that dump button,
yeah,
Rick?
yeah.
I don't. No. And Brett's sick of dumping things on location.
He gets very terrified.
Yeah.
Correct.
But anyway, so that third eye, it will spot things up above, and you'll see them turn their head and watch. Like usually here, they're going to watch that sky ride, but at home, the planes coming over to Minneapolis, St. Paul, they're up pretty high, and you'll watch that iguana, watch that plane go over. If it stays up high, all right, I'll keep sunning myself. But if an actual hawk or eagle comes, they go from there, boom, gone down into their burrow or hiding like, okay, that's a predator.
Gotcha.
I need to get away. Now, her at 36 years old and full grown like this, there's really nothing that's going to bother her. So
Seems unflappable.
Monty had Tebow, a male version of the rhino iguana that he had for years, and that Tebow lived to be 34, which, as far as we could tell, set a record for a captive rhino iguana. So she's setting one every day. I believe he was up in Calgary, and he was setting up, and Tebow was like Monty's dog. Like, he just, whatever he wanted to do, but he'd just hang out. Well, Tebow was sitting in the parking lot sunning himself as Monty was setting up for Calgary. Some guy's Rottweiler got out.
Oh, no.
Saw Tebow and decided, like, I'm going to, make Tebow a chew toy. Well, Tebow went from just laying like that to up underneath that Rottweiler, basically unzipped him from brisket to back.
Man.
Oh, we just lost Halby. He just fainted.
Yeah.
Walked about 3 feet and laid back down to sun himself.
Man,
That was it. Just cold-blooded.
That's cold.
Yep, just grabbed, ripped, and just like, whatever.
Yeah.
You want me?
Tell your friends.
Go ahead.
Of course,
That's Kessler's dream.
Of course, Monty had a big blanket, wrapped the dog up, and 170 stitches later, the Rottweiler was fine. But just that is basically a bottle rocket, a stick of dynamite wrapped up to make it look like a lizard.
And she turned right when you said
She did.
She
Yeah.
turned right at us like,
It's true.
any questions?
It's eerie.
And then we just put him out in the open. It's like, hey, let's see what'll happen.
So, like, an animal, so you think 36, you said?
36, yeah.
So, like, when you get an animal to this advanced stage, is there such a thing as, like, the vet gives her a physical? I mean, can you find out, like, if you want to continue to set the record to go to 40, 45, anything you can do, or is it just you got to let nature take its course?
We let nature take its course. Obviously, something's really going wrong.
Yeah,
We're
right.
going to call in professionals.
Sure.
My number one professional is my aunt, who's a vet.
Oh,
but
nice.
She's a horse vet. So,
well, close enough.
pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, not that different.
And she reminds me every time, I'm not working on any of your snakes. Well, we had another rhino iguana when we were building our new pens. She dug down under the pen into the male's cage. And when they get together, it's not real lovey-dovey.
Right.
They're rather violent, we'll
Okay,
just say it.
right.
And then she crawled back into her cage, but her one arm was basically hanging off.
Oh,
Like
man.
she got tore up.
Got tore up. That's not
So
good.
we took her over to my aunt, and she sewed it up. And
Sewed it up?
everything. Monty just held the head on the other iguana because their pain tolerance is ridiculous. I mean, they'll
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh, yeah, that hurts.
No big deal.
And that's it. Well, after
I wish you would look at Zach.
that year, that iguana went to the fairs with us. You could kind of see the scarring, but it was fine. After a few years, we'd like, oh, yeah, that's right. Her arm was basically hanging off, but she was all healed up, and it didn't bother her one bit. And she was the one that dug down and back up to get over into his
there.
cage.
Wow, that's crazy.
But these guys are absolutely amazing.
Now, did she try any of the banana? No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Go ahead, Hank, see if she'll give her.
Is that in the normal course of things, big on bananas in general?
Yep, that's definitely a treat.
Okay.
Now, if you come later...
Maybe she's full. She didn't seem that interested today.
She's at the fair.
Yeah.
Well, we've
Maybe
kept
she doesn't
her...
like being on display like this.
So if you come over... So I keep forgetting to do our shameless plugs.
Yes, please do.
We're
Please
only
do.
$5.
Yeah.
I know. It's still the best bargain at the fair.
You don't want all our money,
literally.
just some of it,
Period.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You've
I've
heard
heard
that
that.
line. That's
I've
a
heard
good
it a
one.
time or two.
Oh, there you go.
I should
A
borrow
little
that.
banana. Now
That's
she's
right.
got a little morsel.
So we're right by the DNR fish pond, so you can check out some local reptiles there that Snake Discovery has on display, and they help out the DNR. come over and check out the more exotic stuff. Like, it's just a wonderful street for kids. And big kids, too.
Yep.
Yeah, gotcha.
But you can check out, we got a big tortoise that you get to pet. There's over 40 reptiles. You can hear some stories about Monty. Half of them are true. The other half we're just going to make up. I mean,
as long as they're entertaining.
Then again, the stories about Monty, you'd be like, there's no way that's true. And then you'd hear his college buddies come by and they'd tell you the same story.
Or worse.
Yeah.
Like, you guys really did that.
Yeah.
I mean, Monty went to Florida one time for spring break, and he just put ads in the college newspaper. He'd be like, looking for, 3 women to get in my Volkswagen van and go to Florida this week.
What could
And it
possibly
worked.
go wrong?
I don't doubt that it worked.
Yeah.
Sad but true. Those stories probably are left for another day. Look, even while she's eating, she's looking.
I know.
What the hell?
I know. I'm very intimidated.
We're fine.
I've never been as intimidated in any of these except this.
This look is frightening. Mm-hmm. Even though you say she's relatively docile.
Most of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
At home.
The qualifier.
Now, at work, she is a lady.
Yeah.
Through and through. Like when we go to school, birthday party, fair, out on the table,
Right.
she's a lady.
Yeah.
She knows how to act. When we're at home, it's like, no.
Different deal.
I am in charge.
Yeah.
You do what I say. When we bring her in at night, you open her pen, and then it's about a 10-yard sprint because she's coming for you.
Impressive posture, too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want to lay over where she's still, hanging up there where her head's up a little bit. Although maybe that's just to be vigilant.
Well, and now, she didn't get any treats from Henry's there in the International Bazaar.
Yeah.
The banana's all gone.
That's
so
true. Now,
we'll see how this shakes out.
Do we have anything else?
We do.
We got one more?
Yeah. Probably have time for one more.
Yeah, we got time for one more, and then we're in good shape.
I've heard that somewhere on your guys' station. Time for one more?
Time for 2 more?
Yeah.
Oh, 2 more. I apologize.
2 more, yeah, you're right.
Here, I try to pretend that I listen all the time.
Yeah, that's close
Can't even
enough.
do it.
We'll accept it.
But that's not your show, so we don't.
No, that's a different program. What do we got here? Oh,
there we go.
We've seen this critter before,
Yep.
haven't we?
Something like it, at least.
Look at that.
Yep, this guy makes an annual appearance over here and trained to go straight for Zach immediately. So we have 2 African sulcata tortoises. And you can see his biggest thing is just like most people at the fair. I'm going to take 2 steps and start eating.
Yep.
Like you have some beautiful grass here on day 1 of the fair. I'm just going to start mowing it down for you. And that one there, we figure that is 6-7 years old. A lot of our animals are rescues. So when we tell you an age, when you come through and ask an age, we're guessing, we're making it up. But we do write it down, so we give you the same guess every year. We just don't know exactly when it started.
That's okay.
Like our big alligator snapping turtle, like everybody wants to know how old he is. Well, this year he's 105 because we finally picked an age. Like this
We're gonna try to
seems-
stick to it.
and we write it down because you would think 12 days in a row telling people how old something is. Next year you might be able to remember what number that was.
Not so.
Maybe it's because we're all men and we have no memories, or at least not in a useful sense.
Right.
So we have to write it down. We have to have a female write it so we can read it. So each year we write a new piece of paper. Like these are the numbers.
He's not
we're going
messing
with.
around. You're right. He's grabbing like big time.
And he goes right down.
Right down there, yeah.
So these guys at home, you got to rotate the pens they're in because they'll.
So is that
mow
the
it
baby
down.
over there?
Yep. So that's a young version right there. And this guy here, he's big. He's about half grown. He'll get twice as big as this. I mean, these are the ones that get big enough people can sit on and ride around. And a tortoise is another great animal to come back as. We had this conversation with a lady this morning. She's like, well, tell me about a tortoise. Like, it just doesn't care. Like, that's its whole life philosophy. It doesn't care. Like, it does not understand the term go around something. It'll just be walking, and if you're in its way, it'll just keep pushing
Keep
until
going.
you move. It's like, I'm just going to do what I want all the time.
Interesting, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a few people around like that.
There
but-
are sad but true. Well, and in some cases it serves you well, other cases not so much.
I mean, there's part of me that's quite jealous of those people. Be like, that's got to be just great to
So
live your life like
Does this
that.
one bite? Like if it approached Halvey, could it like bite his toe or anything?
If his toe smells like an apple or banana, I'd be worried. I don't know what your feet smell
Pick
like.
a different lotion, Halvey.
Yeah. Let's
Pick a different foot cream.
scented. Yeah.
These guys, I mean, they get scared. They're just pulling their head in. The front legs have really thick scales, so they're going to bring those across the head to close the door and protect themselves. Because growing up in Africa, you got to be rather tough.
Right.
There's
Sure.
a lot of stuff that would love to eat you, so that's why they have the really thick scales, and they're just going to outweigh whatever danger comes around. But no, they're not going to bite you unless you're going to have to try real hard. Although
to get them going.
I have been bit by a tortoise before because I was feeding it a slice of apple and I wasn't paying attention, and it grabbed that last little piece
right off your
of
finger.
apple.
Yeah.
And it's, if you remember, like in art class and you got to work with clay and you got to use that little wire thing to scoop out a chunk of clay, that's basically what I did to my finger and thumb.
Ooh.
And then I got to spend the rest of the Wisconsin State Fair explaining to people the big chunk missing out of my finger and thumb, like, what got you? Was it Albert, the 8-foot alligator? Was it the 20-foot pythons, the rattlesnakes? Like, it was the 2-pound tortoise. You know, the thing that I could have just moved my finger 2 inches and been perfectly
You're
fine.
supposed to be the professional.
At that time, I wasn't.
You were a neophyte, yeah.
Yeah, I was still learning.
You learned. You figured it out.
And there's plenty of times I remind myself, like, yeah, I've learned that lesson before.
So remind folks where you are and what time. Do you open as soon as the fair opens? Oh, you said 8 o'clock.
We open at 8 o'clock every day, and we're usually open till 10:30, depending on the crowd. We used to be open really late, and we figured out that the people at the end of the day are not always worth the admission fee.
Yeah.
So this way we can go to bed happy, and then the people that come the next day, we're not real grumpy. We can actually be nice, normal human beings and treat you the way you deserve to be treated. So, yep, we're on Nelson Street. We're across from the DNR fish pond. We can always tell if the fair's having a good day because if we can see the fish pond, there's nobody at the fair. But if that is blocked with people because people are always looking at it, we know it's a good day.
Awesome. Well, have a wonderful fair, as I'm sure you will.
Thanks, Two Dogs.
Thanks, as always, for coming to see us, man. Great job. How about a hang around for Two Dogs? The tradition continues on day one. Monty Creason's traveling reptile show. I know Monty is listening somewhere and probably snarling, chomping at the bit to tell a couple of inappropriate stories as well. That was the beauty of Monty Creason. We'll come back, a break here, and then we're going to talk music with John Bream, Star Tribune, who's been covering music for the better part of a half century. We'll get into that, the Beatles anniversary, and much more when he joins us on location at the fair next.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Mall of America's mystery cards are back. We're bringing them to you all summer long. Come grab yours at KFAN events throughout the summer or wherever you see our KFAN street team. Then make sure to redeem them at Mall of America for fun prizes and big discounts. Full list of events, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
It's now time for what I like to refer to as the deadpan stylings of longtime music critic for the Star Tribune, John Bream, now kind enough to join us. Mr. Bream! Will you accept the deadpan stylings?
I would accept that, but I've never followed a snake before.
Well,
I've covered a few, but
here's
I've
what's
never
humbling about it.
Yeah.
We always have a huge crowd for the animals, and then whoever is next feels humiliated because then it goes down a little bit. It's not a sign of dislike. It's just that's the bit. People love animals. They go all the way back to, stupid pet tricks. I mean, they love that kind of thing. And it'll build back up again. And there's also the radio audience.
Yes.
You got to remember, it's not just the people here, it's the people who are listening, the vast radio audience as well.
And the visual of the 108-year-old tortoise, so I wouldn't feel like I'm the oldest person
That's
here.
exactly it. It's exactly right. It's good to see you. We thank you for coming. And I guess technically the 50-year anniversary is September 1. Is that correct?
Correct. That was my first day on staff at the Star Tribune, which was Labor Day, and it's Labor Day again.
Wow, Labor Day. Yeah, exactly. You're the first music show or concert that you remember covering and writing about.
That I wrote about?
Yes.
Todd Rundgren, 1974, St. Paul Civic Center Theater.
And did you pan it? Did you praise it? What do you remember about the... what you wrote in the
there's a local musician named Paul Metza.
Yes.
And he always described my style as 3 kudos and a bitch slap. So I think that would cover
That's pretty well stated, actually.
Yeah. That'll be on my gravestone.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty much what that review was.
That's fair. I think even Rundgren might accept that.
He might.
He could be cranky, but he also could be good. We had him on a couple times. I'm sure you talked to him many times over the years.
Yeah, several times.
Yeah, exactly it. All right, so let's start with, I want to talk about a few things regarding, let's stay with the career for a second, the beginning. So tell me how you get hired. Is there some extraordinary backstory to that? Is it, even if it's more mundane than that, see if you could spruce it up a little bit. How do you end up at the Star Tribune?
Well, they had freelancers covering rock and roll.
Right.
See, the guys on staff, they were okay covering James Taylor. But when it came to Led Zeppelin, call a college kid. And I was writing for the University of Minnesota Daily. The arts editor of the Minneapolis Star, which was the afternoon paper at the time, was also teaching in the English department. So he knew my work. And so when the other freelancer went off to a full-time job, I volunteered to do it because I was doing it at the Daily. And he said, well, you have to write in a different style. So
This is what year, then? I'm not good at the math, even though I know it's
1974.
Years. Okay, thank you.
So
I need that kind of help.
He asked me to rewrite one of my reviews to prove I could write in a style acceptable for family daily newspaper, which I did. And so I freelanced for a year and a half, and then in 75, they hired me and said, you're the token young person on staff.
Think about it. And now you're the token old person.
Absolutely.
Isn't that amazing how that can change? Was John Bream the quintessential hippie, counterculture college student?
I think, listening to your show the other day, I was more into yacht soul, as you guys put it.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right? Interesting.
Yeah. It was interesting because I was listening to your conversation the other day, and all those people you were reading off on that yacht soul album, those are the people I was listening to in my college duplex. So I listened to a little bit of that.
Yeah, so that's a little different than, so you weren't listening hardcore rock at that point.
I listened to a little bit of everything, as I do now.
Yeah.
Still.
And so, generally speaking, I think most people who write that long evolve to a certain extent, and even maybe go from imitating other people that they like in terms of how they write to developing their own style. How about for you? I mean, do you think you always wrote in your own voice, or do you think if you go back and read some of the early stuff, do you cringe, or do you say, well, no, that's me? Or how much have you changed, would you say, over the decades?
I would say I've loosened up, and my writing has become a lot more conversational. I think early on I was influenced by the editors who hired me.
Oh, yeah.
And they were a little more conservative in their approaches. And it's rock and roll, or it's popular music.
Yes.
Have fun with it.
Should be some fun to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes some sense.
So you try to inform and entertain as well.
Give me an example of a review that at the time you believed in, but years later you either thought about it or something changed where you went back and read it and you said, what an idiot. How could I have possibly either been that positive or that negative? Because people are allowed to change their minds or go, it wasn't I wasn't interpreting it the way I wish I would have at the time. Anything come to mind in that regard?
Well, one band I was wrong about, but this was when I was in college reviewing. Okay. I saw a group called Steely Dan open for Taj Mahal at the Old Guthrie.
Ah.
And I turned to the guy from ABC Records, which was their label, and I said, I love the album, but they're just not cutting it live. Turns out they changed lead singers, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. So Fagan was not the lead singer at that point?
Not that night. I was a guy named David Palmer.
David Palmer. I actually like, there's a David Palmer song on the
Yacht Rock Volume 1.
It might be on one of their early albums that I think is actually underrated. Didn't he do the vocal on Dirty Work?
I can't remember.
We'll look it up. I always thought he didn't get proper due. Now, again, he's not Fagan, for sure. But it's interesting you bring up that name because I've tended to defend it.
And then,
I'm old enough to remember that.
In other cases, I get called out by Prince fans all the time because they'll go back and look at my record reviews. And what they don't understand is, first of all, I reviewed that stuff in real time when the records came out.
Right?
You listen to it 3 times and you write the review.
You got it right.
If you listen to it 10, 12 times, you get too familiar with it, and you don't have a valid opinion. What I thought of that record years later when I revisited it, I've started to hear those songs live in many instances, so my opinion of those songs changes. And sometimes I'm hearing those songs as the live version that I witnessed on stage versus the recorded version.
Garcia, we can go to 42, correct? Yeah, I just want to be sure I'm on the right commercial schedule. John Bream, kind enough to join us, celebrating 50 years at the Star Tribune, September 1, the actual anniversary date. We've talked, I think, a lot over the years about your relationship with Prince.
Who?
How would you describe it? As up and down, volatile, really quite good start to finish, evolved? What comes to mind? Because it goes back a long way.
Well, it goes back to the very beginning, 1977. I mean, I went, when he was recording his first album out in Sausalito, California at the record plant, I went to see him, and he wouldn't talk to me.
Saw him there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No,
And he wouldn't see you? So you're making the trip because he's from here. It's your job. You want to get out there.
Well, it was a 2-for trip. You got to remember how the paper traveled back in the day.
At least it traveled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I went to L.A. to interview Earth, Wind, and Fire before their big tour when they started doing the magic stuff.
Right.
Yeah, when Earth, Wind, and Fire was in their heyday.
Yes.
And I figured, okay, I'm in L.A. I can go up to San Francisco area, go out to Sausalito, which is like a suburb, and visit them at the record plant, made arrangements with his manager and all of that. And so I show up that day, and he's behind the glass in the recording studio, and he's sitting there with a drumstick, hitting the cymbal one note at a time till this MF leaves. And
seriously?
Yeah, he did not want to be seen.
Is he staring at you while he's doing this?
No. I knew him for 5 or 6 years before he looked me in the eye, and this is after I'd met him. And
so what's that all about?
He's a shy guy.
Yeah, painfully shy.
Yeah.
So it's not he's arrogant. He's shy.
A lot of performers are shy.
That's true. Deep down, you're right.
And they blossom on
Is it he
stage.
didn't trust you, or he didn't trust any critics?
He didn't trust anybody. He didn't want to be observed by anybody. He was
a tough business to be in if that's your approach, isn't it?
Well, he's just starting out. He's making his first record.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be a show pony at this point.
That's true. Yeah.
When he's on stage, he wants to be a show pony. Yeah. But that he didn't have the confidence to do that yet on stage, so he's just learning how to do it. And there was a lot of pressure on him. Signed a big contract.
So how long did it take you, and how did you work the process to get to a place where he would trust you enough to do the first interview? What do you remember about that process?
Well, I did the first interview with him where there was not a handler in the room. All his previous interviews, he had a publicist or a manager or someone else watching over him, cutting off questions, speaking for him, that kind of thing.
Which you love.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
And after his first album came out, Warner Brothers finally said, we've invested all this money in you. The record's not taking off. We want to see what you can do live. So he put together a band and was going to do a show on very short notice. So I interviewed him the last week of 1978. And it was just me and him in a room together at a house where they'd been rehearsing. And we talked for an hour and a half.
In town or where?
In South Minneapolis by Lake
Okay,
Harriet.
right.
We talked for an hour and a half.
Wow.
And the first 45 minutes, I did most of the talking. You might get a word or two out of him. Second hour, you might get a couple sentences, maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs total. And at the end of this hour and a half, he turns to me and says, "This is the longest I've talked to anyone in my life." Very shy, very much a loner, very much someone who had a rich interior life. And, I mean, we got to talking over the years. He disagreed with, any negative things I would say. But ultimately, the bottom line is the word respect. He respected me.
Place.
He respected me enough in what I wrote that he read everything I wrote, whether he agreed with it or not, whether he burned it, my review on Arsenio Hall, or, whether he took
That's a compliment right there. I mean, that's huge.
Well, not only that, I was in the audience that night. He didn't know that. It was the night after the Grammys.
Okay.
And I was in the audience, and I was sitting there with Edna Gunderson, who was the USA Today critic. And we saw them burning a newspaper. You couldn't tell what it was, and I just elbowed her, and I go, "That's probably one of my reviews." And I went, and, they taped these shows at 5 in the afternoon. I went and wrote up a little story on my Trash 80, and that's an old word processor for those of us who weren't in the business.
Yes.
Yeah. And I sent it in with the acoustic couplers, and I sent it into the paper. And then I'm flying home on the red eye, and I get home, and there's all these messages on my answering machine. "Why didn't you mention it was your review that he burned?" Because I didn't see the camera cutaway to the close-up, which they do in the editing.
Sure, right.
But ultimately, he respected me, and he read everything I wrote about him, which did and did not surprise me. I mean, in the way I found out is when I actually had a sit-down interview with him in 2013, and I'd commented maybe 6 months earlier about he kept changing his hairstyle, and I said, "Was that really I said in print, was that an Afro wig?" And in the middle of the interview, he turns to me and says, "It's not a wig. What happened to your hair, John Bream?" So, I mean, it showed you he has a sense of humor, and it also showed he read everything I wrote.
Well, and ultimately, that's all you can ever hope for, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that level of respect, especially with a guy, I don't know how many other people he had that kind of relationship with in terms of critics. Any?
I don't think any. I mean, if you think about it, the only other comparable situation I can think of where someone covered someone's career from the beginning through 40 years and they went to the Hall of Fame would be Sid and Bud Grant.
Yeah, great point. That's true.
Did
he ever once say to you, "You know what, you're right about that"? Was there ever a concession that he spoke to you directly and said, "I got mad at you at such and such, but you actually made a good point about this song"? Or was there ever a moment like that with him?
No, but years later, some of his associates or musicians would say to me that you were really important in the early years, and we took to heart what you said about us. They never said it directly at the time, but they listened and paid attention. And it's not what you're hoping for. You're just giving your honest feedback about what you think about something.
How often did you attend the famous Chanhassen shows where it might start at 3 a.m? Miles Davis might show up one time. It seemed like that on any given weekend, it's astonishing the level of talent that might end up wanting to be there to play with him. Did you go to many of those shows?
I went to countless ones of those, and there'd be times he would show up and he wouldn't play. He might just DJ, or it might be someone else performing. You never knew what was going to happen, but you had to take the chance that it was going to happen.
Were you annoyed? Yeah, because it could be hours, right? But you're saying that's the job. You just got to be prepared to take that.
Prince was wildly unpredictable, and that's part of the deal. You had to take the chance.
The most memorable night that he did perform in that kind of situation, does anything stand out for you? Who he was with, or just in terms of what he did, or anything come to mind?
I mean, this wasn't one of those unannounced performances, but the New Year's Eve 1987 performance, which is in the box set from Sign of the Times, that was the one where Miles Davis came out and performed. Okay. And there's a point where he's making fun of me because I was I was dancing, and it was New Year's Eve, so we had little tiaras and stuff like that.
Right.
So I was wearing it around my neck, and I happened to be wearing I had a vintage tuxedo. I bought it at a secondhand shop, and I had a red tuxedo shirt with black stripes. So he called me Fire Hydrant Head, and he said I looked like Grover from Sesame or something like that.
That's pretty good.
And people have taken this and put a meme out of it. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's all. Again, he noticed you. He didn't ignore you.
No, I mean, he shouted me out several times from the stage.
You know, I'd rather take that than just. I mean, even if some of it's negative or ripping, better that than he's bored with you.
Yeah, or
right?
like the Minnesota Music Awards the night after Michael Jackson moonwalked for the first time on the Motown 20th anniversary special. Was the Minnesota Music Awards, and he's up there performing, and he had read my review of the Michael Jackson thing, and he goes, "Watch this move, John Bream."
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then did it. Ultimately, a serious note on Prince. When you look back now on the way his life ended, I mean, what's the lesson? What happened to him, do you think? Was it, to a certain extent, unavoidable on the basis of the pain that he was dealing with, and that he had people who I think tried to talk to him? But ultimately, it's got to come from within, that you know that whatever decisions you make regarding what you take and what perilous line you're walking. What's the lesson of Prince, the end of Prince's life?
I think in a weird sort of way, he died of loneliness. That he didn't have anyone he could confide in, anyone who could help him, anyone that he could tell the truth to, and asking for help.
He didn't.
It was too little, too late. Yeah.
Why was that? Just his that's just his. That was always been his nature.
The privacy nature.
Privacy nature.
Yeah, he was very, very private about things.
Yeah. Well, we had Guardsy will remember this. We had when the Super Bowl was here last time. We ended up interviewing Sheila E. You helped us get her this last time, which we appreciate. But this was a longer interview, Super Bowl week, and that's part of what she talked about was that. And I'm sure a lot of people who, in various ways, were close to Prince felt like, we failed too, or that we didn't either get the message across, or we didn't have a chance to get the message across to him.
He didn't give them the opportunity.
That's key. That's very key. All right, let's do this. Let's get a quick pause in. We got more time with Star Tribune. Music critic, rock critic? What do you prefer?
Music critic.
Music critic. Yeah, because you do more than rock.
More than rock.
Including Yacht Soul.
Everything but classical.
Which we're going to talk about. I got a couple other things I want to get into with him regarding the Beatles anniversary, which he wrote about, I think, Sunday. And we've been obsessed with. We've been talking about this every anniversary for like the last 5 years. Because there's a couple of nuggets that you didn't write about this last time that I want to find out if you have any new information on those items as well. More with Bream. Don't forget Pat Kessler. If he's not involved in some kind of a fight.
Well, he's already sent out a picture from a bar somewhere on site.
Well, then it's just like he's asking for trouble already.
I know.
He's
taunting people.
Yeah, that's not surprising. So Kessler will join if he's not arrested between, 5:15 and 6 o'clock. Stay tuned. Back from the State Fair.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Next.
Come join us at the 2025 Minnesota State Fair live from Carousel Park, presented by Mesh, Besher, and Spence. We're broadcasting live through Labor Day. You can come buy your favorite fan merch, learn about your shot to be the Mesh, Besher, and Spence Rube of the Day, and win Farm Aid 40 tickets and $200 in concert cash. Full details, KFAN.com/fair.
Guys, John Bream is back with us at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. Kessler has already stumbled by once. He will join in the 5 o'clock hour on a very good first day at the State Fair. Monty Creason's Traveling Reptile Show exhibit already in the rearview mirror, at least for, maybe not for 2025. Maybe we'll bring him back a second time. We've done that before. Bream, as I said, we've talked plenty about Prince. We've talked about some aspects of your career. I do want to talk about all the hubbub regarding the anniversary of the Beatles concert, which I think is today. Today's the actual day. You wrote about it Sunday. We've been obsessed with it for years. And the quote that I started the show with, it was from an inspector. He's the one who basically said, these are the worst people I've ever seen come to town. He couldn't have been more vicious and basically it was about, he claimed, McCartney and much of the entourage. So you wrote about some of this regarding the girls or woman caught in McCartney's room. I think it's been established that she was actually 21. Is that correct?
This is true. She was 21 and from Cleveland. But the law at the time, according to this inspector, Don Dwyer.
Don Dwyer's the guy, yeah.
Who I think later became chief of police.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah,
we tracked him for a while.
Years,
yeah.
and also, there was a similar comment from Ramsey County Sheriff, I believe, that I read in another account saying it was the worst behaved crowd he'd ever seen. But anyway, the issue about the young woman in the hotel room, it was an unregistered guest in the hotel room was the rule or law that Dwyer was citing.
I see. You know,
as opposed to underage.
I see. Okay,
yeah.
I gotcha. Well, then, one of the quotes we saw that Dan Minnesota found for us today was Dwyer again questioning the validity, whether the driver's license or the 21, the ID card was fake or not from Ohio. I don't know how far he went with it, but what I did note is, maybe I haven't done enough research in other cities. I don't remember any other city on this tour where there was this level of hostility. What were you afraid of back then, John Bream?
I think they were afraid of a riot.
Oh.
It was chaos. They'd never seen anything like this before, and it was young girls gone wild as they could back then.
Yes, that's very true. McCartney, do we know whether he has ever, even in jest or fun, ever addressed that confrontation?
I don't ever remember reading anything about it.
Which surprised, somewhere along the line, I was hoping somebody would, because, he's turned into, I think, a decent storyteller, and I'm just wondering what he would say 50 years later. You mentioned you got another McCartney story that you did not include that's really not necessarily related to the anniversary.
Right. This was the first time I interviewed him, 1976, the Wings tour.
Okay.
And he was playing at the St. Paul Civic Center. And I interviewed him in the hockey locker room after the show. And it's a big, spacious locker room. And we're sitting on one side, and then off in the other corner, maybe 10 yards away, there's a small TV set sitting on a chair. And the show on the TV set is the Phoenix Suns and Boston Celtics overtime NBA playoffs game, which you guys were talking about.
We were just talking about that not really long ago.
A couple months ago.
Yes, that was the game?
Absolutely. And I'm a basketball fan.
Huge.
I wasn't old enough to follow the Lakers when they were here, but I was a big Celtics fan as a kid. So I'm really into this game. So it's like one eye is on the TV, one eye is on Paul McCartney, and he hands me a joint. Where's Kessler when we need him?
Right. God, that's too good.
So he hands me a joint. I take a puff, hand it back. He keeps passing it back and forth. But I did not inhale because I had to go back to the office and write. I worked for the afternoon paper, and I had to write a review.
Well, they weren't going to drug test you.
No, but I didn't want to fall asleep.
No, that's
either.
true. Yeah, you're right. That's funny.
But, he must have remembered that. Because the next time I interviewed him, which was, I think, 2002.
Right.
So several years later, first thing he does when I walk into the dressing room and shake hands, hands me a tray of chocolates. What do you make of that?
That's interesting. What was in the chocolates?
It was little jelly things.
Sure it was.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. Did you find him a good interview? What was he like with you over the years? How many times have you talked to him?
I've interviewed him formally, I think, twice.
Okay.
Talked to him in press conference situations several other times. He was pretty facile and not real in-depth. And, kind of...
So do you think he falls into the classification of a guy who's got great stuff, he just isn't necessarily want to give it up?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. How about, did you ever have a chance to interview Lennon, John Lennon?
The only one I didn't talk to.
The only one?
3 of the Beatles.
Ringo, yes.
Yes.
What was George Harrison like?
Very contemplative, smart, thoughtful, quiet. They all...
That doesn't sound like Ringo.
No, that's George. They fit their stereotypes.
Right. Yeah.
And Ringo was very flip. And quick like Paul. Very short answers.
So the stuff that you wrote Sunday about the anniversary, what stands out to you as the most interesting stuff from, a different lifetime, basically?
Maybe the ticket prices.
Yeah, what were they? Refresh me.
$350, $450, and $550.
But
in today's money, that'd be $56 for the top ticket.
Okay, so that's pretty expensive for then.
For them.
For then it wasn't cheap. And we also have complained that it looked like we could have sold a lot more tickets. And what did that say about how we weren't ready? Like we're the one market not ready for the Beatles for guys. Every place else, I think they sold out.
Well, no, Chicago played 2 nights in Comiskey. First one sold out, second one did not.
Well, yeah, first that's a lot of people at Comiskey.
It's a lot of people in Chicago.
Yeah, well, that's true too. That's fair. That's fair.
And then the other thing,
I knew you'd stand tall for Minnesota.
Yeah,
sound like Sid now.
I got a few years to catch up to it.
Well, that's true.
But the other thing that stood out is the show was only 30 minutes long. 11 songs, 30 minutes, goodbye.
Yeah,
and we're
all short songs, and they just kept moving. Right? There was not much.
They only had 2 albums.
And the thing that we've heard before many times is you had almost no chance to actually hear them. Is that true, or is that just a legend that has developed over the decade?
I've talked to several people who were there, including someone who was a musician.
I think the late great Ron Rosenbaum was there. He told us he was there.
Yeah.
And Think It Ain't Gal was there, wasn't she?
I think Meat Sauce's dad was there,
That's
too.
Right. That's right, yeah.
I talked to some musicians who were there, and they said they couldn't really understand the sound very well.
Right.
It was a different time. There was a lot of screaming. The setup was, the stage was on second base. No one could get closer than the stands.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're 40 yards away from the band. It just wasn't right.
Somebody sent, Metza sent this earlier. Remember to tell the story how the guy that ran the clubhouse invited and convinced the Beatles to try their first sauna in the locker room. Did you tell that story Sunday, or do you know that story?
I know that story. Metza wants it because he's Finnish, and saunas are Finnish. Ray Crump, who was the equipment manager for the Twins and was kind of the guy showing them around most of the time when they were backstage, he said they went and took a sauna, and he insisted, I interviewed him at one point, and he insisted that was the first time they'd ever taken a sauna. I mean, they were in their early, mid-20s, 23 to 25. Yeah. Could have been the first time.
Yeah, very possible.
I mean, they credit Dylan with introducing him to a joint.
Yeah, that's true, too.
A couple of years earlier.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, so that's possible. We were talking about how then they, at the hotel, how's it pronounced, by the way, the hotel they stayed at? Is it Leamington or Leamington?
Leamington.
Leamington. After they left, then they cut up pieces of carpet and try to do all kinds of memorabilia things, then to give out to future hotel people who are staying at the hotel.
Oh, I didn't hear that one.
Yeah,
I know that Ray Crump took the pillowcases and stuff from backstage that they lounged on, cut them up, and they sold them to Dayton's. Did something with them, which was the department store at the time.
If you had not become a music critic, what would you have still been in newspapers? Do you think? I mean, it's so defines you. Obviously, it's been what you've made your muse and have done so well with it. But if you had the alternative John Bream as a newspaper man, could you see yourself as staying in newspapers, doing something else?
Yeah, I could have been a sports writer or a sports columnist.
Oh, there you go. You had enough interest.
Yeah,
and you had the acerbic wit.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and the like I said,
Hey, Guardsy, there you are.
I am. Yeah, I'm just listening.
Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt.
But so you have to. I assume after this amount of time, I'd assume you feel like, I mean, it beats working, right? I mean, I know it is. I'm not saying any of it's not hard work or there's not work involved. Writing can be hard, but deadlines.
It is
hard
a job.
You're doing,
yeah.
but it's a job. But I got to believe with your love of music and this community, you say to yourself, this couldn't have gone any better than it did, right?
Well, Prince could have given me more interviews.
Always greedy. Always want a little bit more.
Yeah, it's been a pretty fun and exciting run, definitely.
And so how long is it going to go?
There's no exit plan.
So there have been like 1 million buyouts. You have so far you have no interest.
Nope.
Because how old are you?
I am 27 in heart.
In heart. Well, that's true. You have to be.
You have to be to do this.
Well, here's what I will give you great credit, and this is where I would have failed miserably, lasting as long as you have in the job you're in it. You don't do the back in my. I mean, they don't make music the same. Now you may think that, but you still cover stuff today that is vital and younger, and you don't run from that, which I assume is why you've been as successful as you have, because you sort of have to, but I'm guessing the inclination would be, oh, God, what am I listening to? Why do I even need to spend any time with this stuff? That's the key to the success, isn't it?
Well, you have to assert your professional opinion as opposed to your personal taste. And, I'm serious about being 27 in my head.
Absolutely.
Because, if I cover a boy band, I have to remember what it was like in 1965 when the Beatles came here, and I had classmates that went, and what their behavior was like. I checked in with 2 friends who were at the Beatles concert this week. One was just graduated high school. She went there with her boyfriend. She'd been to clubs and a lot of shows.
Right.
She thought it was awful. She was frustrated.
Really?
Couldn't get close to the band or any of that. Then I talked to someone who was 13 or 14, copyright common at the time. She went there. She had a poster of Ringo. She's at the airport with the poster, and some security guard, after the Beatles deplaned, invites her to go onto the plane. So she puts down the poster, goes on the plane, gets the souvenir napkin that Paul McCartney used, and the little toothpick that he had the cherries or the olives or whatever his drink was on.
Right.
She gets those. She comes out. She saved those for years and years and years, but she gets out. Someone stole her poster.
No.
And she was bummed, but she went to the concert. And then years later, she went to the Minnesota History Center, and there was a book with the pictures of the concert with the girl who stole her poster.
No.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But she didn't say anything about the music. This is what all she remembered about the experience. So, if you're 13 or 14,
you're going
through that, you're there for maybe social reasons or whatever. If you're 18, you're there thinking about the music or whatever. So everyone has a different perspective and frame of reference. So I just have to keep in mind
it's fair.
What it's like for those kids there.
Yeah, that's way too mature and adult an approach for me, unfortunately.
That's why you went into radio.
That's exactly had to be what it was. So before we go, we got to clear up the yacht rock, yacht soul thing. So in your mind, we talked about this a lot with Oak a couple weeks ago. You texted at the time, and you reminded me, basically, yacht rock used to be just called soft rock. That was the term. In general, should musicians in your mind who are labeled as yacht rockers or doing yacht soul, do they have a right to be offended by the term?
Well, anyone has a right to do that. But, I mean, it is. I can see how it's offensive to some people because it didn't exist when they created the music.
That's true.
There weren't as many genres. Now you've got so many different media. There's 1 million different charts, so everyone can have a number one song because you got 73 different charts. We've got 94 categories in the Grammys, but we don't have a yacht rock or yacht soul in the Grammys. So it's just soul. It's just it's a certain era. It's radio stations have certain formats. So that's why they come up with these names. You need a shorthand to describe something.
It's packaging now more than ever. That's what Garzi and I were talking about. I guess that's part of it.
And
but I could see where they'd be. I mean, I guess Fagan was livid and basically hung up on, for the documentary that was, Netflix, I think, a year ago, they called him and he hung up on them and said, bleep you. And some people said, well, come on, have a sense of humor. Because Michael McDonald went the other way. He's self-deprecating to a fault where he's like, okay, hammer me, whatever, it's fine. He basically... When I talked to him, almost said, none of the music I do is meaningful at all, but I kind of like doing it. I think he's too hard on himself, quite frankly. I mean, I think there's a middle ground in there somewhere. You've talked to Rundgren. One of the times I talked to Rundgren, he talked about, obviously, the split in his music, which is, what he liked to view as the more experimental stuff, and then the ballads, Hello, It's Me, etc. And I said, I still think you sell yourself short because I think there is talent and art to making that sort, even if you want to call it a pop song, as effective as you did. I don't look down on that.
And there's a craft to it.
Yes, there is. 100%. Any final thoughts here before you move on? What else? What do you got? So tonight you're vlogging. Not blogging. Aren't you vlogging tonight?
Well, I'm taking video for our live blog at the fair. So I'll be covering different things till the fair closes at 11 o'clock.
Does that include a visit? Is it Old Dominion that's
I'll
playing
be at
tonight?
Old Dominion. I'll see Yam House, the opening act. Afterwards, there's a couple bands that play at Dino's Gyros and Cafe Caribe.
What about the Liney Lodge?
Well, that's from 8:30 to 10. You can't be at two places at once.
I see. That's fair enough.
So I may
Are you going to be out here every night now? Every day, pretty much?
Pretty much every day, but tomorrow I'll get Benson Boone tomorrow night at XL.
Okay, and then the deadlines don't even matter anymore, do they?
Correct. The deadline for the print paper now is 9:45.
Makes no sense to me.
Which is about halftime of a game.
So then what's your deadline online? Anytime you want?
Yeah, but the deadline is sort of the last night person leaves about midnight.
Okay.
So you want to get it done by then.
Fair enough. Congratulations.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
I have nothing but great respect for your career. We appreciate the time you've given us over the years. Hope that will indeed continue. But it's just been a marvelous run. So thanks for helping us out today. Congrats on hitting that. What are you going to do on the actual date? Is there a big celebration planned? Are you going out with friends? Star Tribune doing something major? Or are they bored with you?
Star Tribune, I gave them a bunch of ideas. They haven't gotten back to me about it, of course.
Well, it's coming up.
Yeah.
Break it to them. It's
Well,
September
they
1,
said, well, maybe we'll do something in September. They had to ask one of their bosses.
Okay, yeah.
Everyone.
They had to get Strip Varsity off the ground.
That's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you should start writing it for them on the side. A little Strip Varsity.
Yeah, there you go.
Be a sports writer after all.
Yeah.
That's what I did in high school. I
There it is. See?
High school.
You were
sports.
versatile. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
On the 1st, I will be at the fair. I always come on Labor Day for fun and get to see the stuff that I missed that I haven't seen on the nights.
Who's
of work.
performing that last day? I don't even know. Is there somebody?
It's a kid show.
It's a kid show usually.
Doing Taylor Swift stuff.
Oh, that's great. That's fine. You like the tribute shows, or you're bored with them?
This is my.
Somebody tonight, somebody's doing Santana songs. I don't remember the name of the tribute.
I don't go to any tribute shows of bands that are or artists that are still alive and still performing.
What about hologram shows?
Well,
you
if
feel
I have
about
to,
those?
they're weird, but I cover them for news or curiosity reasons. But if someone's doing a Santana tribute, you can go see Santana. Why do we have to have a tribute?
Yeah.
There was someone not long ago. I can't remember what band was here, and then a tribute show 3 days later for the band that was just here.
A little weird.
Yeah, it's respect the band that's still alive, even though you love the music. Just respect the band that's still out there.
Let's respect John Bream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thanks for coming to see us, man. Appreciate you. Top of the hour break, a little late. My clock management has been dreadful so far today. That's probably just as well, because Kessler probably is arrested by now anyway. Back in just a minute from the State Fair.